Welcome back to the Crypto World channel, everyone. My name is Josh, and right now, Bitcoin is still playing out the larger bearish trend, but is now running into this critical level of support and also bouncing from this area of support, while also still playing out this oversold signal in the short term and starting to liquidate positions to the upside, which I'll talk about in just a moment, alongside Ethereum now further playing out this shorter term bullish divergence right now. So I'll be talking about all of that and more later in the video, so definitely watch to the end. First of all, taking a look at the 4-day Bitcoin chart, and right now the super trend indicator is still sitting in the red, indicating a larger bearish trend. And if we're looking at the 2-day Bitcoin chart, as of right now, the price of Bitcoin is still within the larger bearish trend, but we are bouncing from this major level of support right here, which is sitting at around 52,500 as of right now. And obviously, if we're looking at the last multiple months, this is yet another time where we've seen another bounce from this same line of support right here, because we've previously seen multiple bounces from this line of support right here. And so once again, we're continuing the bearish trend, but during the bearish trend, we can see bounces back to the upside in the short term during the trend. And if we're taking a look at this daily Bitcoin chart over the last 1 day, we don't really have any new information here on the DXY. So if you want to know more about this chart right here, check out my last video here on the channel, because over the last 1 day, the DXY has been closed for trading. So getting straight into this daily Bitcoin chart, and we can see the price of Bitcoin is further bouncing from this critical area of support that I've been talking about here on the channel, in between around 51,000 to 53,000. And that's pretty much exactly where the price of Bitcoin bounced from. We basically entered into that area of support just underneath 53,000 and then bounced exactly from that area. And so now that we're seeing a bit of a short-term bounce from this support, the next major area of resistance to watch out for is starting at roughly around 56,000 and going up towards around 57,000, mainly based on previous support now acting as new resistance. So just keep that in mind. Now that we're bouncing to the upside, of course, we're not going to go straight to the upside into all-time highs. We're going to run into resistance here and there where the price will likely struggle at. And now, if we actually see a breakout back above this area of resistance in between 56 to 57,000, then in that case, the next resistance to watch out for is sitting at around 59,000. And then we have an area of resistance in between around 60 to 61,000 and much more resistance at around 64,500. So obviously, we still have a lot of resistance to the upside to pay attention to if we actually see a further bounce here beyond any of these initial areas of resistance. And of course, if we see some sort of rejection from these levels of resistance here, then the area of support that I'm still paying attention to is this area in between 51 to 53,000, at least as of right now. And if we're zooming into the shorter term, looking at the 4-hour Bitcoin chart, what we could see right here is the price of Bitcoin continuing to play out a bit of a short-term bullish relief, basically playing out this oversold signal here in the 4-hour Bitcoin RSI. And obviously, I mentioned in my last video here on the channel that this will likely happen at least for the rest of the weekend, because first of all, 2 videos ago here on the channel, I compared this to what we saw back here roughly around a week ago, nearly 2 weeks ago, where we saw an oversold signal confirm in the 4-hour Bitcoin RSI, and then we ended up seeing a bit of a short-term bullish relief over the next couple of days or so, but ultimately we remained within the bearish trend later on. And so this signal by itself does not necessarily confirm a bullish trend reversal, but of course we were already expecting at least a bit of a break from the bearish trend, a slight relief here in the short term during the bearish trend. So this is basically playing out exactly as expected. And so now that this has been playing out as expected, what should we be expecting moving forward? And well, first of all, if you want to trade any of these moves in the price of Bitcoin or any other crypto, personally, I take just about all of my trades over on Bybit. So I'll make sure to leave a link to Bybit down below this video in the description and in the pinned comment. And if you use that link down below this video to make a Bybit account and deposit on that account, then you can get up to a $30,000 deposit bonus, but only if you use that link down below this video. And also, if you use that link, it'll take you to this page right here, which is a massive lucky draw happening right now over on Bybit, where you could potentially win up to $100,000 just by trading crypto using the link down below this video. And so if you're going to be trading crypto anyway, you might as well check this out. Once again, first link down below this video. But for whatever reason, if you cannot access Bybit or if you cannot KYC on Bybit, there is Bitfinex, which is another crypto exchange similar to Bybit, but you don't need KYC for Bitfinex. And so I'll also make sure to leave a link to Bitfinex down below this video as an alternative crypto exchange. And if you use that link below this video, you can get up to a 5.5k deposit bonus, and only if you use that link, you can get a 10% discount on all trading fees on the Bitfinex exchange forever if you use that link below this video to make your Bitfinex account. And so as an alternative exchange, one that you can access from the US or the UK, for example, where you may not be able to access Bybit, once again, there's Bitfinex, links down below if you want to claim those extra bonuses. And now, what do I expect for Bitcoin moving forward? And well, first of all, obviously, at least as of right now on the larger timeframes, we're still technically within a larger bearish trend. So despite what happens in the short term, whether we see a bit of a short-term bounce or another short-term dump, either way, whatever happens in the short term, technically speaking, we're still within the larger bearish trend, forming lower highs and lower lows. But if we're talking about the shorter term, we could continue to see this slight bounce, perhaps up towards this area of resistance, where, like I said earlier, we're likely going to see the price struggle once we get closer towards resistance, which is really starting at around 56 to 57,000. And so we could continue to see this slight little relief here in the short term until we start running into resistance. And if we're taking a look at the Bitcoin liquidation heat map, over the last one day, we actually liquidated a lot of positions that were sitting right at around 55,000, give or take. And as for liquidity to pay attention to right now, we do have a small amount of liquidity at around 53,500 and a small amount at around 52,000 to 52,500. But with that being said, a lot of the liquidity just in the short term is actually sitting just above the current price of Bitcoin. First of all, we have a decent amount of liquidity sitting at around 55.6k, give or take, and also some more liquidity at around 56,500. And then above that, we have a lot of liquidity at around 57.7k and a lot more liquidity at around 58,500. But we have to remember that those levels of liquidity that are sitting above 57k are obviously above this area of resistance. So we're still likely going to see the price struggle around this area of resistance if we get there before we can even start looking at these higher levels of liquidity. But before we even make it to this resistance at 56 to 57,000, of course, we do have these lower levels of liquidity to watch out for at around 55.6k and also some liquidity at around 56.6k approximately, which is right inside this area of resistance. And so that's what I'm paying attention to in the short term, these liquidity levels that are just above the price, basically not above this area of resistance, but between the price and this resistance. That's why I'm watching here in the short term. But then as we get closer towards 56 to 57,000, expect the price to start struggling around there as the most likely scenario just in the short term. And remember, at least as of right now, all of this is currently occurring within a larger bearish trend, technically speaking. And with that being said, taking a look at Ethereum on the weekly time frame, over the last one day, we just saw a weekly candle close. And so basically, we're still holding above this massive ascending line of support and also this massive area of support, which was previous resistance. And this area is sitting in between around $2,000 to $2,150. And this ascending line of support is still sitting at right around $2,150. And also, if we're taking a look at the 3-day Ethereum chart, we're still finding support obviously right in this golden pocket in between 2150 to around 2.2k. So for now, that is the strong area of support that I'm paying attention to. And obviously, I've been talking about that area of support since before we even bounced from that area exactly as expected. So as I've been saying over the last couple of days, I do expect the price to hold above that area at least for a few days, most likely for a few weeks, considering the significance of this area of support, at least as of right now. But even though I am expecting the price to hold above this area of support in the short term for the coming days or weeks, that does not necessarily mean the bearish trend is over, because obviously we've seen previous times where we've held some important levels of support for quite some time, but then ultimately we can potentially continue the bearish trend later on. So just because we're holding above strong support as of right now, that's not necessarily a bullish trend reversal signal. But But what is a bullish trend reversal signal to watch out for would be a confirmed breakout with candle closes on the larger time frames back above key resistance. First of all, breaking back out above around 2,500, and especially if we can see a confirmed breakout back above 2.8k, that would be a strong bullish reversal signal for the larger time frames. But at least for now, that has not happened. So technically speaking, we're still within the bearish trends, the bearish price structure on the larger time frames. But in the short term, I do expect the price to hold this support, at least for the coming days or weeks. And if we're taking a look at this daily time frame, obviously over the last one day, we confirmed yet another green candle here in the price action here on the daily Ethereum chart, which further confirms the bullish divergence on the daily time frame, which I've been talking about over the last few days. So like I said, over the last few days, I do expect either a slight bullish relief or at least a bit of a sideways consolidation over the coming days or weeks as the most likely scenario just in the short term during the larger bearish trend. And typically a bullish divergence on the daily time frame plays out over at least a few weeks, so there is a good chance that we'll play out a little bit of a relief, basically a break from the bearish trend for potentially a few weeks here. And the point of invalidation to essentially invalidate the bullish divergence would be to break back below this low in the price with candle closes, or if we see a breakdown here in the RSI below this line of support or below this previous low, those would be invalidation signals to invalidate the bullish divergence. But at least for now, this bullish divergence is indeed active with 2 candle closes as confirmation. And not only are we playing out this bullish divergence here in the short term, we're also bouncing from oversold territories here in the 12-hour Ethereum RSI, which I've obviously already been talking about over the last few days. As I've been comparing to these previous examples right here over the last few days, we do expect either a slight bounce or at least a bit of a sideways consolidation as the most likely scenario, at least for the coming days. But once again, as I've mentioned recently here on the channel, this is not necessarily a bullish trend reversal signal, because as we've seen in the past, this often results in a short-term bounce or short-term bullish relief, basically a bit of a break from the bearish trend, but oftentimes we can see a trend continuation to the bearish direction later on. That's still a possibility. And so overall, what I'm expecting right now, and as I've already been saying over the last few days, I do expect that the price, at least for now, is technically still within this bearish trend here on the 3-day time frame, for example, but just for the next few days or weeks. In the shorter term, I do expect a bit of a break or a relief from the bearish trend due to the fact that the price is bouncing from oversold territories, and also we're now playing out this bullish divergence at the same time as bouncing from major support just in the short term. And if we're taking a look at the price of Solana on the daily time frame, it's basically the same story for Solana as well, because right now we've also just confirmed a new bullish divergence for Solana here on the daily time frame, with lower lows confirmed in the price in the candle closes on the daily time frame, and higher lows now confirmed in the daily Solana RSI. And so just like I was saying for Ethereum, this is telling us that we're most likely going to see a bit of a break from this short-term bearish momentum here in the form of either a slight bullish relief or at least some choppy sideways price action as the most likely outcomes over the coming days or weeks. And especially when you combine this bullish divergence with the fact that we're bouncing from significant support, this massive area of support right here in between 120 to 128, there is a good chance that we're going to see a bit of a break or a relief from that short-term bearish momentum once again. But as I just said, this is talking about the shorter term, as in what we could be expecting over the coming days or weeks, not necessarily what could happen in a month or two from now, because technically there is still the possibility that maybe in a month or two from now, we could end up seeing more bearish price action later on. That's still a possibility that we need to consider, but just in the short term, once again, for the coming days or weeks, I do expect a bit of a break or a relief from that bearish momentum here in the short term. And if we end up seeing a further bounce here in the short term, the next major area of resistance that I'm currently watching is starting at around 138 and going up towards around 143 approximately. And above that area, we have a major area of resistance right here at around 159 to 163. And as always, if you want to trade these moves in the price of any crypto, check out those links down below this video to claim those extra bonuses. And if you want to actually know how to trade crypto, no matter if the price is bullish, bearish, or chopping around sideways, then make sure to watch these videos popping up right here on your screen. The video in the top left shows you how you can profit from bullish or bearish price action using long positions or short positions. And the video in the bottom left shows you how you can easily profit from choppy sideways price action. But anyway, that is everything that I have to say for today. I really hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you all in the next video.